fed up with it, right? I mean, the whole broadcast, you weren't allowed to do your job, which was being a responsible, hard-hitting journalist, holding politicians' feet to their fire on both sides of the aisle.
I left because I think they wanted me to do something else, and I just didn't want to do it. But over time, and I think especially in the last 2 years, it really has kind of devolved. And I mean, I think news has really become a little bit problematic. It's almost hard for me to watch. You know, it is. It's just a lot of talking heads, people yelling at each other, not a lot of context. So I don't regret leaving at all.
No, and you started your own gig, a startup here, which is amazing. I love that. The whole news industry, and you do a good job trying to bring it back to the roots, but as you said in the last couple of years, but I would even argue, and there's a great book called Amusing Ourselves to Death by Neil Postman. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it was written in 1984, and it could have been written last week about, you know, entertainment taking over our lives. We've amused ourselves to death. And he was saying in 1984 how the news is just becoming, you know, fluff, and it's just argument, and let's just create good TV and not actually give people the facts.
When I came into the business, there was not an expectation that TV news would be a moneymaker for a company. And then that really shifted. And so there was a sense that, you know, it used to be the newsroom had this sort of sacred job of covering the news, and then it became like, oh crap, actually we have to compete. And when you're talking about competition, you're talking about competition with really other entertainment shows. And so then those news shows became much more about entertainment, and it really, I think, became problematic.
How do you compete with fake news?
You know, I mean...
always topical.
Listen, I do think that has really become a tremendous problem, right? And not more than fake news, just nobody relies on data and facts and evidence. I mean, you see it right now in the administration, where this idea that sort of coming from some kind of, you know, science, evidence-based, research-based position doesn't seem to have a lot of value. So more than fake news, I think it's this idea like, I feel this way, ergo it must be true, versus, well, you know, data tells us this is the fact. That's what's most annoying to me.
Yeah, and the surrogates who show up on TV these days and just stick to the party line, the talking points. There's nothing, no progress is being made. Why are we watching this? Literally nothing is being said of substance at all. What's so good about you is that you pushed back, and I have a compilation of your CNN days. Let's just see Soledad battling it out with these idiots.
Well, I'm saying he's saying...
We're going to blame this on Bush, too? We're going to blame... in other words...
You got to stop putting words in my mouth, sir. Seriously, hang on. Let me finish.
That this was due to this terrible movie about Muhammad.
But he actually didn't say that. Right. The actual verbatim of what he said. Every time I ask you a question, you like to push back as if somehow the question that's being posed to you is unfair. It's not. I'm a journalist. You said some things. I'm trying to get some accurate responses from you. You are welcome to answer. Go ahead.
So mean.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Laying the smack down.
So mad.
And where is he today?
Rudy.
I know, he's been really quiet, right? Like, really, where is he today?
Yeah.
You've heard nothing. That's interesting.
Is he one of the worst you've ever dealt with? Just the pure scum people?
No, I found he's just very argumentative, and he does make a lot of stuff up. So, you know, and one thing you could really do with Rudy Giuliani, you know, one thing we did well on that show was you could just have tons of data, right? So, for example, he'd say, President Obama apologized for America. I'd say, well, where? He'd say, in the Cairo speech. I'm like, oh, have it right here. Tell me where. What paragraph? Well, he said such and such. You're like, oh, this paragraph? No. Can I read it to you? Here's what he said. You know, so he was actually kind of pretty easy because he would just make stuff up all the time. And you just have to, if you had the right data set in front of you, you could pretty easily push back on him.
And the other ones. Let me hear it. The scummy of the scummiest. Who are just the real schmucks you want wiped off?
You know, I actually...
Or do you like engaging with them? I mean...
I never minded fighting with people, and I did appreciate...
It's not a fair fight, though. They don't have the intellect.
I did appreciate that people came on... Like, they didn't have to say yes to come on your show. I mean, I did feel like when I engaged them, I think they felt like we were always arguing about facts, right? I mean, it was never... Now, people are in these really, like, bizarre personal attacks all the time. I mean, really, they're just nasty, but But, you know, people would come on because they wanted to debate their proposal. And they might agree or disagree, but we would get into the substance of what they were talking about. Now, it's just very nasty.
It is nasty.
I mean, Twitter has become kind of like a cesspool.
Oh, that is a total cesspool.
Yeah.
And so you don't really interact with...
I do. I'm a Twitter ninja. I love Twitter, but it's terrible.
Mute. You got to mute.
I just block people. I'm like, I've got to unfollow
Block
you,
them?
block.
Mutombo
Sure.
style?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know.